My child, do not turn away. Do not tell yourself you will come back to these words later. Do not assume this is just another message that will fade into the endless stream of voices competing for your attention. Pause where you are. Let your heart become still for just a moment. There is a reason you are here right now, and it is far greater than you realize. I have been waiting for this exact moment to speak to you. Before this day began, before the sun rose over your life, before you faced the worries that have weighed heavily upon your heart, I already knew this conversation would happen. Nothing about this moment is accidental. You did not discover these words by chance. I guided your steps here because there is something your soul has been longing to hear, even if your mind has grown tired of hoping. My child, the door you have been praying for is opening right now. Not tomorrow, not someday, not in some distant season that feels impossible to reach. Right now, something is shifting in the unseen. Heaven is moving in ways your natural eyes cannot yet perceive. Angels have already begun carrying out assignments connected to prayers you thought had been forgotten. The answers you believed were delayed have never been abandoned. They have been carefully prepared, protected, and brought closer to you than you can imagine. Yet there is something I need you to understand. Many stand before an open door while believing it is still closed. Many continue asking me for what I have already begun placing within their reach because fear convinces them nothing has changed. They keep staring at yesterday until they cannot recognize what I am doing today. Do not let that become your story. Listen carefully, my child. The greatest danger before you is not that I have stopped working. The greatest danger is that discouragement has slowly trained your eyes to expect disappointment instead of miracles. After so many battles, after so many tears, after so many prayers that seemed unanswered, part of your heart has become afraid to hope again. You have protected yourself from disappointment by expecting less than what I promised. But I never asked you to live that way. I have not forgotten a single prayer you whispered through tears. I remember every late night when you wondered whether I still heard your voice. I remember every moment you looked toward heaven searching for even the smallest sign that I was near. I remember the questions you never spoke aloud because you feared they revealed weakness. I was there for every one of those moments, holding you even when you believed you were standing alone. And now I am asking you to lift your eyes. Do not focus on what has not changed. Do not measure your future by your present circumstances. Do not let yesterday's disappointments define tomorrow's possibilities. The door you have prayed for is no longer far away. It is opening. Can you feel the quiet stirring within your spirit? That gentle pull you cannot fully explain is not your imagination. It is my spirit inviting you to pay attention. I am awakening hope where weariness tried to settle. I am breathing courage into places where fear built walls. I am preparing your heart to receive what your hands could not yet hold before. Stay with me. Do not scroll away. Do not allow distraction to steal what I am revealing. The world will always give you another notification, another reason to hurry, another excuse to postpone what matters most. But this moment is sacred. Heaven has interrupted your ordinary day because your ordinary day is about to become part of an extraordinary story. The door before you is not opening because you earned it through perfection. It is opening because of my faithfulness. It is opening because my promises do not expire. It is opening because I finish what I begin. Trust me for a little longer. Listen with an open heart. Walk with me through every word that follows. Because before this message is finished, I will show you what has been happening behind the scenes, why your waiting has not been wasted, and why the answer you have been praying for is much closer than you ever dared to believe. My child, if only you could see your life from where I stand, you would realize that you have never been as far from your answer as you believed. The distance between your prayer and its fulfillment has not been measured by miles, years, or impossible circumstances. It has been measured by what your eyes could not see and what your heart could not yet understand. You have often looked around you and concluded that nothing was changing. You saw the same challenges, the same unanswered questions, the same responsibilities waiting for you each morning. You looked at your circumstances and assumed heaven had remained silent. But, my child, appearances have never told the whole story. While you were counting what had not happened, I was preparing what had to happen first. While you were asking, Lord, where are you? I was already moving pieces into place that your human understanding could never arrange. I was opening conversations before you knew they would matter. I was softening hearts you believed would never change. I was closing paths that would have led you away from my purpose and quietly guiding you toward the one I prepared long before you were born. You believed you were standing in a season of stillness. I saw a season of preparation. You believed you were waiting outside the door. I saw you standing just steps away from it. My child, so many times you have mistaken hidden progress for no progress at all. You expected dramatic signs, immediate breakthroughs, and unmistakable miracles. But I often work like the sunrise. Darkness does not disappear all at once. Light slowly fills the horizon until suddenly you realize morning has already arrived. That is how I have been working in your life. Long before you noticed hope returning, I had already begun restoring your strength. Long before peace reached your heart, I had already begun removing what was stealing it. Long before you believed anything could change, heaven had already started moving on your behalf. You asked me for an answer, and I heard you the very first time you prayed. Not the 10th time, not after months of pleading. The first time. Every tear mattered to me. Every whispered prayer reached me. Every moment you cried out in weakness was received with compassion, not frustration. I never ignored your voice. I never misplaced your request. I never forgot the promises I spoke over your life. But there were things that needed to be prepared before the answer could safely arrive. There were lessons that would protect the blessing once you received it. There were people who needed to enter your story and others who needed to leave it. There were doors that had to close so you would not settle for something smaller than what I intended. There were burdens that had to fall from your shoulders because they would have crushed you in the next season. And there was a version of you that was becoming stronger, wiser, and more dependent upon me than ever before. You did not always recognize these changes because transformation often happens quietly. Just as a tree grows its strongest roots beneath the ground where no one can see them, I have been strengthening the foundation of your faith beneath the surface of your everyday life. You wondered why I did not move faster. I was making sure you would be able to remain standing after the blessing arrived. My child, I have never been interested in giving you something that would only satisfy you for a moment. I desire to establish you. I desire to strengthen you. I desire to give you gifts that become testimonies of my faithfulness for years to come. That is why I have been working more deeply than you realized. Even now, as you hear my voice, you may still feel tempted to look at your circumstances and say, nothing has changed. But I invite you to look with the eyes of faith instead of the eyes of fear. Look beyond today's limitations. Look beyond yesterday's disappointments. Look beyond what people have said about your future. The answer you have been praying for is no longer a distant possibility. It is drawing nearer with every step I have been leading you to take. You have not been wandering without purpose. You have not been forgotten. You have not been abandoned. You have been standing closer to the answer than you ever realized, and the door before you is beginning to open exactly at the time I have appointed. Trust me a little longer, my child, because what you cannot yet see is already becoming your reality. My child, there is something I must reveal to you, because I do not want you to mistake the enemy's voice for reality. The battle you have been facing is not only around your circumstances. It has been taking place inside your perspective. The enemy understands that if he can convince you nothing is changing, he can weaken your expectation before you ever reach the blessing I have prepared. He cannot rewrite the promises I have spoken over your life. He cannot erase your name from my heart. He cannot cancel the purpose I created you to fulfill. But he will do everything he can to make you believe that my hand is no longer moving. This is one of his oldest strategies. He whispers, nothing is different. He whispers, you've prayed too long. He whispers, if God were going to answer you, he would have done it already. Little by little, he tries to replace faith with discouragement. He wants disappointment to become so familiar that hope begins to feel unrealistic. He wants you to expect another closed door before you even reach for the handle. But my child, his lies do not become truth simply because you hear them repeatedly. Remember this, silence does not mean absence, and waiting does not mean abandonment. Many of the greatest works I perform begin long before they become visible. Seeds grow beneath the soil before anyone celebrates the harvest. Rivers are formed by countless unseen streams before they become mighty enough for everyone to notice. In the same way, my work in your life often begins where human eyes cannot reach. The enemy knows this. That is why he keeps your attention fixed on what you cannot yet see instead of what I have already begun. He points to your unfinished story and tells you it is your final chapter. He points to temporary delays and calls them permanent defeat. He points to your weakness and tells you that you are incapable of receiving what I have promised. Do not believe him. He has always feared what happens when one of my children refuses to surrender their hope. He knows that a heart filled with faith becomes difficult to stop. He knows that a soul anchored in my promises cannot be easily shaken by changing circumstances. So instead of attacking your destiny directly, he attacks your expectation. He wants you to stop looking for my goodness. He wants you to stop praying with confidence. He wants you to stop believing that today could be different from yesterday. Because the moment expectation dies, obedience often begins to weaken. Prayer becomes routine instead of relationship. Worship becomes habit instead of surrender. Hope slowly gives way to survival. That is exactly where he wants you to remain. But I did not create you merely to survive. I created you to walk confidently in the life I prepared for you. My child, think back to the moments when you suddenly felt like giving up for no clear reason. There were days when your circumstances had not changed, yet an unusual heaviness settled over your spirit. You questioned yourself. You questioned your future. You even questioned whether your prayers still mattered. Those moments did not come because I had left you. They came because the enemy recognized that you were drawing closer to what I had prepared. The closer you move toward my purpose, the louder discouragement often becomes, not because darkness is winning, but because darkness realizes its time is growing short. Do not measure my activity by the volume of the battle. Often the fiercest resistance comes just before the greatest breakthrough. The strongest winds blow before the storm passes. The darkest hour comes before the dawn breaks across the horizon. In the same way, the pressure you have been feeling is not proof that I have forgotten you. It is often evidence that something is shifting beyond what you can presently understand. So lift your eyes above your circumstances. Do not let today's uncertainty become tomorrow's conclusion. Do not let fear write the ending of a story that I am still writing. The enemy wants you to believe nothing is changing because he knows what will happen when you finally see the door I have been opening all along. The moment you recognize my hand at work, courage will replace hesitation, peace will silence fear, and your faith will carry you through the doorway into everything I have lovingly prepared for you. My child, there have been moments when you stood before a closed door and believed I had rejected your prayer. You looked at the opportunity that disappeared, the relationship that ended, the plan that unraveled, and you wondered why I remained silent. You questioned whether I had forgotten the desires of your heart or changed my mind about the promises I had given you. But I tell you now, many of the doors that refused to open were never meant to become your future. You saw rejection. I saw protection. You saw disappointment. I saw deliverance. You saw an ending. I saw a rescue that your eyes could not yet understand. There are things I protect you from that you will never fully know this side of eternity. There are conversations I prevented because they would have wounded your spirit. There are opportunities I removed because they carried hidden burdens behind attractive appearances. There are paths that seemed promising but quietly led away from the purpose I designed for your life. You asked me to bless you. Sometimes my blessing came in the form of saying no, not because I wanted to withhold something good from you, but because I wanted to preserve something better. My child, I do not close doors to punish you. I close doors to guide you. I close doors to redirect you. I close doors to keep you from walking into places where your peace would slowly disappear. There were people you desperately wanted to remain in your life. You prayed that they would stay, believing they were essential to your future. Yet I saw what you could not see. I saw the conversations that would eventually break your confidence. I saw the compromises that would quietly weaken your faith. I saw how the connection that felt comforting today would become a source of sorrow tomorrow. So I closed the door. Not because I ignored your tears, because I heard them. Not because I dismissed your desires, because I understood them more deeply than you did. There were opportunities that looked perfect in your eyes. You imagined how everything would finally fall into place if only that one door opened. But I saw what was waiting behind it. I saw exhaustion where you expected fulfillment. I saw distraction where you expected purpose. I saw temporary success that would slowly pull your heart away from my presence. So I closed the door. There were seasons when you pleaded with me to change your circumstances immediately. You thought relief would come through a different job, a different city, a different relationship, or a different timeline. Yet I knew that changing your surroundings before strengthening your heart would only repeat the same struggles in another place. So I worked within you before I changed what was around you. My child, my protection does not always feel comfortable. Sometimes it feels like waiting. Sometimes it feels like disappointment. Sometimes it feels like confusion, but my protection has always been wrapped in my love. Think about how many times you have looked back and quietly whispered, "I'm glad that didn't happen." At the time, you could not understand why I allowed your plans to fall apart. Today, you see pieces of the picture that were once hidden. What once felt like loss now looks like mercy. The same will be true of the doors you still do not understand. One day you will see how close you came to settling for less than my best. One day you will recognize that what seemed like a painful delay was actually a careful redirection. One day you will thank me for every prayer I answered differently than you expected, because I was never removing your future. I was removing what threatened it. I was never taking away your blessing. I was protecting the blessing until the right door stood before you. Now, my child, do not spend your strength mourning doors that I intentionally closed. Do not build your future around opportunities I lovingly removed from your path. Instead, lift your eyes and trust my heart. If I closed a door, it was because I had already seen the one that truly belongs to you. The door I open will not require you to abandon your faith. It will not demand that you compromise your character. It will not pull you away from my presence. It will lead you into greater peace, deeper purpose, and lasting joy. Trust my wisdom over your understanding, because every door I closed was preparing you to recognize and confidently walk through the one I am opening before you now. My child, one of the greatest misunderstandings you have carried is believing that my work begins when your circumstances begin to change. You have looked for evidence in open doors, restored relationships, financial breakthroughs, healed bodies, or visible answers to prayer. You have searched your surroundings for proof that I am moving, but I want you to understand something deeper. My greatest miracles often begin in the hidden places of the heart long before they appear in the visible places of life. Before I transform your circumstances, I transform you. Before I change what is around you, I change what is within you. Because if your heart is not prepared, even the greatest blessing can become a burden instead of a gift. Think about who you were only a short time ago. You reacted differently. You feared more quickly. You became discouraged more easily. You allowed the opinions of others to shape your confidence. You measured your worth by what you possessed instead of by who I declared you to be. But slowly, quietly, almost without noticing, something began to change. The same situations that once destroyed your peace no longer hold the same power over you. The disappointments that once made you question my goodness now drive you closer to my presence. The storms that once filled your heart with panic have become opportunities to discover that I am faithful even when the waves are high. Do you see it, my child? This is not an accident. This is my work. While you were waiting for your circumstances to change, I was changing the person who would walk into those circumstances. I was teaching you patience where frustration once ruled. I was planting wisdom where impulsive decisions once grew. I was building courage where fear once whispered. I was restoring hope where disappointment had tried to make its home. These changes may seem invisible to you because they happened one small step at a time. Rarely do I transform a heart in a single dramatic moment. More often, I shape it through daily conversations, quiet moments of surrender, unexpected challenges, and gentle reminders of my faithfulness. Just as a skilled craftsman carefully shapes every detail before revealing the finished masterpiece, I have been shaping your character with loving hands. Every prayer you prayed in weakness strengthened your dependence upon me. Every disappointment taught you that my plans are higher than your own. Every season of waiting stretched your faith beyond what you thought possible. Every act of obedience no matter how small, was preparing you for something greater than you imagined. My child, do not underestimate what has already happened inside you. You are stronger than you were. You are wiser than you were. You are more compassionate than you were. You are more patient than you were. Most importantly, you know me more deeply than you did before. That is a miracle no circumstance can take away. The enemy wanted you to believe that because your surroundings remained familiar, nothing had changed. But he cannot see what I see. I see a heart that no longer runs as quickly toward fear. I see a spirit that has learned to seek my voice before reacting to uncertainty. I see a child who has continued to believe even after seasons that would have caused many others to give up. Do not dismiss these victories simply because they happened quietly. The greatest transformations rarely announce themselves with noise. They reveal themselves over time. The tree does not become strong on the day its fruit appears. It becomes strong because its roots have been growing long before anyone noticed. In the same way, your faith has been taking root beneath the surface. What people cannot see today will one day support blessings that could never have rested upon the person you used to be. That is why I have not rushed this process. I love you too much to give you what your soul was not yet ready to carry. I wanted your peace to become greater than your fear. I wanted your trust to become stronger than your doubts. I wanted your identity to rest in my love instead of the changing opinions of the world. Now look at yourself through my eyes instead of your own. Stop measuring your progress only by what has changed around you. Measure it by what has changed within you. Because the heart standing before me today is not the same heart that first began this journey. It has been refined, strengthened, and prepared by my faithful hands. And that is why the door I am opening before you now is no longer simply an answer to your prayer. It is the doorway into the next season that your transformed heart is finally ready to receive. My child, before you continue, I want you to pause for just a moment. If these words have been speaking directly to your heart, don't ignore what you are feeling. That quiet stirring inside you is not a coincidence. It may be my spirit reminding you that your season is changing and that I am preparing something greater than you can see today. If you believe I am still working, even when you cannot yet see the outcome, I invite you to make this simple declaration of faith. Type, Amen, I trust your timing, Lord. Let those words be more than a comment. Let them be your prayer. Let them be your decision to trust me above your circumstances. If this message is encouraging your faith, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who needs hope today. You never know who is standing at the edge of giving up, waiting for a reminder that I have not forgotten them. Now, stay with me, my child. The most important part of this message is still ahead. My child, while you believed nothing was happening, heaven was never standing still. There has never been a single day when I stopped working on your behalf. There has never been a morning when I looked upon your life and decided to abandon the plans I established before you were born. Even in the moments when everything around you appeared frozen, my purposes continued to move with perfect precision. Your waiting was never empty. It was full of my activity. You simply could not see what was taking place beyond the limits of your natural sight. While you waited, I was arranging what no human hands could arrange. While you waited, I was opening conversations that would eventually lead to opportunities. While you waited, I was aligning people whose paths would cross yours at exactly the right moment. While you waited, I was removing obstacles before you ever reached them. While you waited, I was protecting you from battles you never even knew existed. My child, heaven does not become idle simply because you cannot see its movement. The greatest works often happen in places hidden from human eyes. Just as roots grow silently beneath the ground before branches ever reach toward the sky, my work has been growing beneath the surface of your life. What appears quiet on earth is often filled with activity in heaven. Do not mistake silence for stillness. Do not mistake waiting for absence. I have been far closer than you imagined. There were nights when you fell asleep carrying questions you could not answer. You wondered whether tomorrow would be any different from yesterday. Yet while you rested, I continued preparing what would meet you in the days ahead. I never sleep. I never grow weary. I never lose sight of my promises. Even while your eyes were closed, my hands were still at work. There were hearts I was gently softening. There were circumstances I was quietly reshaping. There were delays I was transforming into divine appointments. There were disappointments I was weaving into testimonies you will one day share with others. Nothing has been wasted. Not your tears. Not your prayers. Not your waiting. Not even your moments of uncertainty. Every season has become part of a greater story that I have been writing with perfect wisdom. My child, my angels have not been standing at a distance watching your struggles without purpose. They have carried out assignments according to my will. They have guarded you in moments when danger came closer than you realized. They have strengthened you when your own strength was nearly gone. More than once, I protected you from situations you never knew existed because my love reached you before trouble did. You often ask me, Lord, where are you? The better question was, Lord, what are you doing that I cannot yet see? If only you could look beyond the visible for a single moment, you would discover that heaven has been filled with movement concerning your life. Your name has never been forgotten. Your prayers have never been misplaced. Your future has never been uncertain to me. Everything has been unfolding according to my perfect knowledge, even when it unfolded differently from your expectations. My child, I do not prepare blessings carelessly. I prepare them with intention. I prepare them with timing. I prepare them with love. When I bring something into your life, I desire for it to become a lasting testimony of my faithfulness, not merely a temporary moment of excitement. That is why I have been working on both the blessing and the one who will receive it. I have been preparing the opportunity, and I have been preparing you. The two are now drawing closer together than ever before. Can you sense the change? The quiet stirring within your spirit is not your imagination. It is my invitation to expect again. It is my reminder that the season of waiting has not been meaningless. Every unseen movement has been bringing you one step closer to the door I promised to open. So do not lose heart now. Do not stop trusting now. Do not turn back now. Heaven has been moving every moment you were waiting, and what I have been preparing in secret is beginning to emerge into the light. The door before you is no longer just a promise in the distance, it is becoming a reality, and I am calling you to walk toward it with confidence, knowing that my hand has been guiding every step all along. My child, I know how easy it is to measure your life by what you can see. Each morning you wake up and notice the same responsibilities. You see the same financial pressures, the same unanswered questions, the same situations that have lingered longer than you expected. Your eyes naturally focus on what appears unchanged, and before long your heart begins to believe that nothing is different. But I am asking you to change where you are looking. Stop measuring my faithfulness by your circumstances. Measure it by my promises. The world teaches you to believe only what your eyes can confirm. But my kingdom has always worked differently. Faith does not begin when everything becomes visible. Faith begins when you choose to trust me before the evidence appears. Have I ever failed to keep my word? Have I ever forgotten one of my children? Have I ever abandoned those who sincerely sought me? The answer has always been the same. No. Then why let temporary circumstances speak louder than my eternal promises? My child, you have spent too much time counting what has not changed while overlooking everything that has. You notice the door that remains closed, but you overlook the strength I have built within you. You notice the prayer that has not yet been answered in the way you expected, but you overlook the peace that now carries you through days that once overwhelmed you. You notice the mountain that still stands before you, but you overlook how much stronger your faith has become since you first faced it. You are looking at the storm. I am asking you to look at the one who commands the storm. Lift your eyes, not to your fears, not to your past failures, not to the opinions of people who cannot see what I am doing. Lift your eyes to me, because when your eyes remain fixed on your problems, fear grows larger. But when your eyes remain fixed on me, your problems begin to find their proper place. Remember how I have carried you before. Think about the battles you believed would destroy you, yet here you are. Think about the nights when you believed you would never smile again, yet I restored your hope. Think about the moments when every door appeared closed, yet somehow I continued providing exactly what you needed for that season. Was that your strength? No, it was mine. And the same God who sustained you yesterday is the God who walks beside you today. I have not changed. My love has not changed. My promises have not changed. My power has not changed. So do not let changing circumstances convince you that my unchanging character has somehow become uncertain. My child, there are blessings already moving toward you that your eyes cannot yet detect. If you become consumed by what remains unfinished, you may fail to recognize what is quietly approaching. Expectation is a doorway. Hope is a doorway. Trust is a doorway. Keep those doors open. Do not allow disappointment to close them before my blessings arrive. I know you want to see everything clearly before taking the next step, but I have never asked you to walk by perfect understanding. I have asked you to walk by faith. One faithful step has always been enough for me. One obedient yes has always opened the way for another. You do not need to see the entire journey. You only need to keep your eyes on the one leading you. So today, my child, stop staring at everything that appears unchanged. Stop allowing yesterday's disappointments to define tomorrow's expectations. Instead, fix your heart upon me, for while you have been looking at what has not changed, I have been quietly preparing everything that is about to. And when the moment comes, you will discover that what seemed impossible was already unfolding under my loving hand all along. My child, there is a reason I have spent so much time shaping your heart before placing the next blessing into your hands. It is because I do not want you to simply receive the blessing. I want you to sustain it. Many people pray for open doors, but few ask to become the kind of person who can faithfully walk through them. They ask for increase without asking for wisdom. They desire influence without first learning humility. They seek victory without understanding endurance. But I have been preparing you differently. I have not only been preparing your future, I have been preparing you for your future. There is a difference. A blessing received before the heart is ready can become a burden. A responsibility accepted before character is formed can become overwhelming. An opportunity embraced before wisdom is established can be easily lost. That is why I have been working patiently within you. Every challenge has strengthened something. Every disappointment has refined something. Every season of waiting has matured something. Nothing has been meaningless. My child, think about how you respond today compared to who you once were. There was a time when every setback convinced you that I had abandoned you. Now, even through tears, you continue seeking my presence. There was a time when fear quickly controlled your decisions. Now you pause to listen for my voice before moving. There was a time when the opinions of others carried more weight than my promises. Now your confidence is becoming rooted in what I say rather than what the world believes. This transformation is not small. It is holy. It is the evidence that my spirit has been faithfully working inside you. You have been learning patience when everything in you wanted immediate answers. You have been learning compassion through your own pain. You have been learning perseverance through seasons that tested every part of your faith. You have been learning humility by discovering that your greatest strength has always come from depending on me. These are not delays. These are preparations. Because the blessing I have prepared for you requires more than excitement. It requires stability. It requires wisdom. It requires a heart that remembers where every good gift comes from. My child, I know there were moments when you wished I would simply remove every obstacle from your path. But if I had done that, you might have reached the destination without becoming the person capable of remaining there. I care too deeply about your future to allow temporary success to replace lasting transformation. What I am building in you will support what I am bringing to you. Your faith is becoming stronger than your fear. Your peace is becoming deeper than your uncertainty. Your hope is becoming more consistent than your emotions. That is why you are closer than ever to the season you have been praying for. Not because everything around you has suddenly become perfect, but because the person standing before me today is not the same person who first cried out for this blessing. You have grown. You have matured. You have learned to trust me when the path was unclear. And that trust has become the foundation upon which your next season will stand. So do not question the work I have been doing within you. Celebrate it. The person you are becoming is exactly the person who can carry what I am about to place in your hands. Walk forward with confidence, my child, because I have not only prepared the blessing for you, I have lovingly prepared you for the blessing. My child, after everything I have revealed to you, There is one final truth I want you to hold close to your heart. The door is open. Now you must choose whether you will walk through it. For so long, you have prayed for change. You have asked me to make a way where there seemed to be no way. You have pleaded for direction, for peace, for restoration, for breakthrough. Those prayers have never been ignored. They have brought you to this very moment. This is not the time to look backward. This is not the time to let fear speak louder than faith. This is not the time to allow yesterday's disappointments to decide tomorrow's future. This is the moment to trust me completely. Do not wait until every question has been answered. Do not wait until every uncertainty disappears. Do not wait until you feel perfectly prepared. If you wait for perfect certainty, you will spend your life standing outside the very door I have already opened. Remember, my child, it has never been certainty that pleased me. It has always been faith. Faith takes the first step before seeing the entire path. Faith believes my voice even when circumstances have not yet caught up with my promises. Faith reaches for my hand instead of retreating into fear. I know the future may still seem unfamiliar. I know there are moments when your heart wonders, what if I fail? But let me ask you something. When have I ever called you to walk alone? I have gone before you. I will walk beside you, and I will remain behind you as your protector. Every step you take in obedience is a step you will never take without my presence. Do not underestimate what one act of trust can begin. One decision to obey can change an entire season. One moment of surrender can open years of blessing. One faithful yes can become the turning point you have prayed for through countless nights. The enemy wants you frozen at the threshold. He wants you analyzing instead of advancing, questioning instead of trusting, watching instead of walking. But I did not bring you this far to leave you standing at the entrance. I brought you here to lead you through. So release the fear that has been weighing down your heart. Release the need to control every outcome. Release the disappointment of yesterday. Release the voices that tell you you are not ready. Listen only to my voice. I am calling you forward. I am calling you into greater peace. I am calling you into deeper purpose. I am calling you into the life I prepared for you long before you understood my plans. Take my hand, my child. Lift your eyes. Take the next step with confidence. The door before you is no longer just a promise, it is an invitation. Walk through it with faith, knowing that the one who opened it is the same one who will faithfully lead you through every step on the other side. My child, one day you will look back on this season with different eyes. The moments that once confused you will begin to make sense. The doors that remained closed will no longer feel like rejection. The waiting that seemed unbearable will reveal itself as preparation. Even the tears you thought were wasted will become reminders of how faithfully I carried you through every step. You will see that I was never absent. I was never silent. I was never late. I was working in ways that your human eyes could not yet perceive. One day you will understand why I asked you to trust instead of fear. You will understand why I protected you from opportunities that seemed perfect, why I delayed certain answers until your heart was ready, and why I never stopped calling you closer, even when you felt discouraged. You will realize that every step of your journey was held securely in my hands. Nothing escaped my attention. Nothing happened outside my knowledge. Nothing was beyond my power to redeem. My child, do not leave this moment carrying the same doubts that you brought into it. Leave with hope. Leave with peace. Leave with confidence that the one who began this good work in you will faithfully bring it to completion. The door before you is opening because my timing is perfect, my promises are true, and my love for you has never changed. So walk forward without fear. Walk forward with faith. Walk forward knowing that I am already waiting for you on the other side of the door, ready to fulfill every purpose I have lovingly prepared for your life. And one day, you will thank me not only for the blessings you received, but for everything I was doing when you could not yet see my hand at work. Heavenly Father, thank you for speaking to our hearts today. Thank you for reminding us that you have never left us, even in the seasons when we could not understand what you were doing. Thank you for every unseen act of protection, every closed door that kept us from harm, and every open door you have prepared according to your perfect will. Lord, forgive us for the times we allowed fear to become louder than faith. Forgive us for doubting your timing and for focusing more on our circumstances than on your promises. Today, we choose to place our trust back into your loving hands. Strengthen our hearts with fresh courage. Fill our minds with your peace that surpasses all understanding. Remove every spirit of discouragement, anxiety, confusion, and doubt that has tried to keep us from walking confidently with you. Teach us to recognize your voice above every other voice, and to follow wherever you lead. Father, prepare us for every blessing you have planned. Give us the wisdom to walk through every door you open, and the faith to leave behind every door you have closed. Help us to trust that your plans are always greater than our own, and that your timing is always perfect. Before you leave this moment, my child, I want to invite you to make a declaration not because I need your words, but because your heart grows stronger every time your faith is spoken aloud. If you believe that God has been preparing you, even when you could not see it, if you believe that every closed door had a purpose, if you believe that the door he is opening is greater than anything you have left behind, then write this declaration in the comments. Lord, I will walk through the door you have opened. I trust your perfect timing. Write it with faith. Write it with expectation. Write it as a reminder to your own heart that your future is not determined by fear, but by the promises of God. As you type those words, let them become your prayer. Let them mark the beginning of a new season, a season where you choose faith over doubt, courage over hesitation, and trust over worry. If this message encouraged your heart today, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Every message shared here is created to bring hope, strengthen faith, and remind people around the world that God is still speaking, still working, and still opening doors that no one can shut. Share this message with someone who may be standing in front of a door they are afraid to walk through. Your simple act of sharing could become the encouragement that helps another person find hope again. You never know whose life may be changed because you chose to pass God's message along. And as you leave today, remember this: do not measure your future by what you see today. Measure it by the faithfulness of the God who walks before you. The door he opens cannot be closed by fear. It cannot be closed by disappointment. It cannot be closed by the opinions of others. And it cannot be closed by the mistakes of your past. Walk forward with confidence, my child. Heaven has already gone before you. Your answer is closer than you think. Your breakthrough is nearer than you imagine. And the God who opened the door will faithfully lead you through it, one step at a time. May his peace guard your heart, his wisdom guide your steps, and his unfailing love surround you today and always. God bless you, and never forget you are deeply loved, carefully guided, and your greatest season may be just beyond the door that God has opened before you. We surrender our future, our families, our dreams, and every unanswered prayer into your hands. We believe that you are already working for our good, even when we cannot yet see the outcome. In the mighty and faithful name of Jesus we pray. Amen.